Many banks and financial institutions are stuck in the past, grappling with old legacy core technology systems that are unable to provide innovative products and services that today's digital-first customers demand.
And the rapid advance of AI will transform customer expectations, but only if we can transform the core technology. Well, joining us right now to take a look at the challenges facing the industry is Matt Mills, Chief Revenue Officer at 10X Banking. Welcome, Matt.
Welcome, Matt. Great to have you here on Sibos TV. So tell us about 10X.
Absolutely. So 10X Banking was founded back in 2016 by a couple of people that have spent a lot of their lives working in banks. In fact, almost all of their lives working in banks. And they recognized there was fundamentally a better way for those banks to serve their customers, and that technology, a rather better technology, was fundamentally needed to solve the legacy challenges. And so they built the world's first modular, highly scalable, highly customizable core that allows banks to build hyper-personalized products at really high speed and low cost, using a combination of configuration and coding in any programming language, but also allowing for any product to be launched very, very quickly by the bank.
Matt, tell us more about Metacore and why have you developed this new category of core?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's really interesting is that there's been these multiple waves of the core banking industry. So we had the growth of the neocores for a period of time, and they did an amazing job when people wanted to launch new banks. And when we had that wave of the neobanks, where really the market expectation was these were organizations that are going to have maybe 1 million, 2 million customers at peak, there were lots of products that were designed to serve that market really, really well. But what we found is that the big opportunity to improve banking for everyone right now is actually within the big banks. And so Metacore went, well, let's learn from what made the different neocores really great. And let's also think about the level of scalability and stability that a big bank needs for a core. And let's take the best of all of those things and put it together. And that's really Metacore. So we've had the benefit of learning both from our very, very big existing banking clients and also from a market as a whole. And we've been able to take the neocore banking market forward to the next stage, which is what we describe as Metacore.
I understand you've launched some new research, Matt. Can you share with us some of the key findings?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we find kind of makes sense, which is that 93% of the survey respondents, and these were kind of big bank CIOs primarily that we were speaking to, said that their success depends on choosing the right core banking solution. And I think that when we talk about success, what we mean is the process of core banking migration can be tricky. And so what you want to do is make sure that if you're going to go on that journey, you've chosen the right core first. The other thing is that the 55% of the banks that we spoke to said that the limitations of their existing core banking solution are the biggest roadblock to the achievement of their digital business transformation. But also, and I think probably most importantly as to why this is such a commonly spoken about topic at the moment, 42% of the banks that we spoke to are planning on replacing elements of their legacy core technology stack in the next 12 months. So when we talk about this big wave, that Metacore is here to help the banks with, we're really on that. And in fact, conversely, as well as the 42% that plan to, only 2% of the bank survey said that they have no plans to change any part of their technology stack in the immediate future. So, it's a very, very big wave that's happening right now, and that's why we're very excited to have the Metacore.
Yeah, it's huge. As you've said, those statistics don't lie, those numbers don't lie. A lot of legacy core technology moving into Metacore. So why are banks like Westpac and Old Mutual and Chase UK choosing 10X?
Fundamentally, this comes down to the no compromise. So I think if you are a big bank, you need to have someone that's got a proven track record of going live. We are very lucky that all of our customers are live, and in fact, all of our customers are happy. So that's not common within the technology industry, especially not within the core industry. But also, because we're the first banking provider to solve both the legacy and the neo-core problems together at the same time, that gives a much higher level of confidence to the larger financial institutions like the ones you've mentioned. They need to have something that is neo-ish because they need to be able to compete with new entrants in the market. They need to have that 30% cost income ratio that we're very proud that our customers have. But they also need something that is ready to support a very, very large banking institution. And like I say, that's something that is very unique to the proposition at 10x.
Matt, one of our guests earlier today was paraphrasing Hemingway, saying the world changes very slowly and then very suddenly. So I wonder, how has the banking industry changed in the time that you've worked within it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been various shifts. There was the first wave was the move to online, and of course, mobile apps were a massive part of that. That was a joy to go through, away from kind of the assumption being you go to your physical branch to cash in checks or do basic, banking tasks. Everyone now just does that almost entirely on their phone. And then I think I know you've interviewed others and you've been talking about the growth of real-time payments and real-time settlement. I think that wave coming through and indeed continuing is a very, very big and important kind of wave and change that's happened within the banks. Because again, back to my earlier point on legacy tech, a lot of the tech wasn't really designed for that. In fact, many of the banks we speak to have got the same core that they installed 50 years ago. And so those two things changing, and indeed my third point, which is the wave of the neobanks, fundamentally all of this has changed consumer expectations. We expect immediacy, whether it's doing a bank transfer to a friend or paying a bill or buying a new financial product. We don't expect to wait. We don't expect decisions to take time. And I think that is really the biggest wave. So everything until now has been sort of culminating in this, but is that fundamental change in the way that consumers feel about their banks and the expectations they have on the timeliness and the quality of the products that the bank can provide them.
Well, to that point, absolutely. You're seeing multi-generational shifts in expectations as to the speed of service, right? You've got Gen Z, you've got the millennials, and the alphas are all on the iPads these days. And so how are customer expectations changing?
Yeah, so there's two kind of primary areas of the shift. The first is that this shift to mobile and digital first. So consumers now expect to be able to bank online. They expect to be able to use their mobile devices, even their watches in some markets. Consumers expect to be able to make payments entirely without cash. And they expect to be able to access their finances at any point in time and buy new products or financial products at any moment in time. The other thing, and this is the really interesting one, and actually where the legacy banks probably have their biggest challenges, or rather the banks on legacy tech have their biggest challenges, is expectations on fees and what banking costs. So consumers no longer expect to pay fees on foreign transactions. When you travel, you have a debit card and you don't expect to pay money to the bank to use it locally or to get cash out. You expect to get better money on your savings. We've had this incredible period of net interest margin, which has redefined the expectations with consumers on their banks. And they expect that kind of frictionless banking experience. And that's actually, again, back to cores. That's where cores kind of hold the banks back. Because if you're operating at a cost income ratio of 60% or 68% and your competitors are running at 30%, that means that it's extremely difficult to be able to offer these very, very compelling consumer products at the price point that you need to provide them. And indeed, things like, foreign exchange being free, you can't do that if it costs you a lot of money to look after those customers. And so one of the biggest drivers for us to help banks deal with this change in consumer expectations is to build them a technology stack that just dramatically reduces the cost of serving their customers. And that then allows them to have these creative and more compelling consumer propositions.
We always have a focus on the future of finance here at Sibos. I'm going to ask you, Matt, where do you see the banking industry in the next 5 to 10 years?
I really think that the banks will go through the change that many of the neos have, where you will see just incredibly seamless banking apps. We saw that actually, that in many ways some of the big banks have caught up very, very well with the quality of the mobile banking propositions. I think we're going to continue to see that trend. I think also we're going to see a massive growth in account to account. We're already seeing that in some markets, but I think that the idea that we use our cards as the primary method of payment is something that is going to change dramatically over the next few years. And there is some really exciting innovation in this space, in part driven, of course, by the desire not to spend quite so much money on fees. And ultimately, it's all about customer service and immediacy for customers. So how do we give our customers the best possible banking experience as quickly as possible, as cheaply as possible? That's really going to be it. The last thing I'll say on this one is banking is not about banking itself. It's about what it enables. No one wants to buy a mortgage, but everybody wants a house. And so where we're going to see banking going is that through greater intelligence, we're able to be more behind the scenes, enabling people to live better lives.
That is really exciting to hear and really exciting to look forward to. The future of finance is already here, folks. Matt Mills, Chief Revenue Officer at 10X Banking. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.